and Monstar Kittenz. And the winner of this match actually goes on to play Curse Academy next weekend. So they got a tough road ahead of them, even if they manage to win this one. So we'll have to see. I can imagine there's going to be some highly contested picks after the last one, but it looks like the bans are pretty similar to what we've seen.
Yep, so Xerath Draven, keeping Arc Second away from that Xerath, keeping Hostbark away from his Draven, and then we're going to probably see the regular Rengar Gnar, or I bet you Gnar is going to be after Syndra, so they don't let Westeros have that, destroy them that first game.
Yeah.
And then Aurelia from Chump John. That's the respect bans coming out from 3 major players.
Which is really interesting because I've seen CompLexity White first pick Aurelia a lot in some of their scrims and their ranked 5s matches. They first pick top lane a lot, and Aurelia seems to be the one that they go with if Gnar isn't available or if something else isn't on the table. So that's just really respecting Chump John's Aurelia. They don't even want to leave that on the table.
I mean, who would have guessed? I mean, obviously you could check his solo queue history and stuff like that. He plays a lot of Aurelia, but to bring it out on the main stage in a tournament where you're like, all right, this is do or die time, I'm going all in. And it worked out. It was phenomenal. It was just a front line that they needed.
Yeah.
And the picks that are opened up, Westeros, what are they going to go for? Could they snag the Orianna away from Arc Second? Because he finally came through with those shockwaves.
Yeah.
Am I rubbing the crystal ball correctly here? Are we good? We'll see. But Orianna could be a pretty safe pick for Golden Clue.
Well, we just saw how comfortable Arc Second was on the Orianna.
Shockwaves.
Especially compared to the last game where he was playing Jace. He was playing very tentatively. He was playing conservatively.
It doesn't fit his style.
Doesn't fit his style. The Control Mage, though, definitely fits in with his style. And that's really smart by CompLexity to take that away if they decide to lock this in as first pick, and they do.
All right, so gonna see what he can do with that, but Sojin gonna go right back to the causes. We didn't even highlight him. He was doing a great job of roaming around, keeping the buffs out. He counter-ganked phenomenally as well.
Yep.
He became a big frontline they needed, and there's Hanjaro's Janna. That is something I would have banned away, but there's just so many other things to take out. Like, there's no room for it to be banned.
If you thought that Arc Second's Orianna was great, his Xerath is even better.
Yes.
And Draven is something that you never put in the hands of Hoofspark. No matter how comfortable you feel playing against a Draven, you just don't give it to him because he's one of the most experienced.
You can put him down 0-10. He's got like 150 stacks. Bam, just cashes in.
Just cashes in and then completely carries the game. Pentakill with just 1x.
just Draven, the whirling death. But Jarvan going to come out from Kez here, so a little bit more aggressive style possibly to come through with that flag and drag.
Yep.
And then Rumble up top for Westeros. So this is something that he's played quite a bit. He'll be looking to go more of that tanky rallies route and just try to be a huge nuisance up top.
This is a combination that I was expecting to see a lot more of coming into the Challenger scene, and look for this composition as we move forward in this tournament.
So you Cataclysm,
these 3 champions.
Shockwave, and then Equalizer.
Exactly, and especially the J4 and the Rumble pick, just locking teams into the Equalizer. This mid-game composition from CompLexity White is really potent, and Monstar Kittenz is going to have to react to it, and this seems to be Monstar Kittenz. They seem to have a little bit of a weak point in the mid-game. They struggled a little bit in the first game, and they got closed out on the mid-game. In the second game, they held themselves in the mid-game. That's all they managed to do. They won in the late game. And so this looks like CompLexity White calling an audible and saying, hey, we need to go super aggressive in the mid lane, make plays happen, and really be the aggressors in this matchup because I'm sure CompLexity White thinks they're the favorites.
Indeed. So we're going to see the potential Corki again for Hostbark, which we are. So he had a tough time first game with it, and if he goes up against Marby's Lucian again, Marbaby, excuse me, is Lucian again, and then we're going to have Chump John with the Maokai up top. So looking to try to counter out the tree-burning Rumble Mechanizer, I don't know what you want to call him, but we'll see if he can stop the flames. And there's going to be a Nami Lucian. I love this combination. You put the Tidecaller's Blessing on top of the Gunslinger passive, or the Lightslinger passive, excuse me, and you just do a bunch of magic damage on top of it. Yeah.
So the Anivia pick, now this is...
That fits him perfectly.
It fits him perfectly. The Ahri maybe fit him a little bit better. I think Arc Second is like Ahri is like his 3rd most played champion in solo queue, and even in ranked 5s he's been playing some Ahri as well. Anivia does fit his playstyle, actually. We talked about that control mage.
You can't push in.
Yeah, Anivia is literally the epitome of control mid laners, and looks like they're going to probably go with the Ahri here. I think that makes some sense.
I like it. You get the charm, you've got the illusionary orb as well to go through everything, and just it does the true damage, I believe. Coming back. Oh, wait,
switching it up at the last second.
Oh, so he's gonna go for the opposite matchup that he had last game and try to test his skills against the Orianna of Golden. That's interesting. I'm not sure, or maybe it could be mid Maokai.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Don't toy with me.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here, but that's a really bold move by Arc Second to say, hey, I know I beat you with Orianna last game, but now this time I'm going to take your champion, and I'm going to beat you with it again.
Okay.
So,
I mean, the matchup was hard, too, because you can't commit because she's got Command Protect. If she puts a little bit of an extra level into it or not, and then you're just like, oh, the burst was just too much, and
yeah.
Like, I can't do anything. Now I commit to a dive, and I'm dead.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. We're going to be getting into the rest very soon, and we're going to also look for your guys' responses to what you think about this set. It's Game 3. Who do you think is going to win? Tweet at us at LOL Esports, hashtag LCX expansion. We're going to look through those, and we want to hear your responses, as after that last game, Monstar Kittenz are showing that they have a fight in them.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really expected. Monstar Kittenz is a really unknown team. A lot of these players, nobody's really even ever heard of. They are at the top of the challenger ladder. I know Hanjaro has a popular YouTube channel that he uploads his clips on.
He does a lot of support things.
Yeah, but as far as being known compared to the guys on CompLexity White,
he's down there.
It's not really a comparison. And being able to take a game off that, especially the second game, riding that momentum into the third game, is going to be a pretty big deal.
And they has Janet Corky this time. So
Janet Corky.
We're going to see the extra boost in damage the phosphorus bomb will get from the shield coming in. And it's going to be interesting. He had a phenomenal game. The Howling Gales were on point. Monsoon was just great. And we'll see if he can do it this time. And putting himself up against a Nami is going to be interesting as well, because the ebb and flow is so annoying to deal with. You get harassed out, and you can heal either your AD carrying yourself, or you could to do a little bit of extra damage as you bounce it from yourself to... you bounce it from them to yourself.
Yeah. So the big thing to watch here, though, is Hoofspark. I don't think this game he can really get away with sort of being disposable like he was in the last game.
I hope not. Yeah. I want to see a little bit more worth out of him.
Yeah, he has to make more of an effort to try and get himself ahead and keep himself in the game on Corky, because he doesn't have that buffer of being just a naturally strong late game AD carry.
All right, so we're here with the final match, or the final game between these players here in CompLexity White versus Monstar Kittenz, and we'll see how it goes as they switch up the plays. And it's going to be Kez on the Jarvan jungle, and Sojin going back to the Kha'Zix. So I want to see Kez be a little bit more active this time. I mean, if he goes for a Sightstone on Jarvan, that'd be rather interesting.
Yeah, I have seen him do it, and I wouldn't put it past him. It's not a jungle champion that you say, oh, well, that Sightstone makes sense on him. But at the same time, that's just Kez's style. He loves to control vision early on. We've seen it in both games so far. Didn't even go for a spear dart, and machete straight into Sightstone. Yep. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did it, but at the same time, Jarvan, not quite the best champion to be able to do that with.
And first blood is joined by Kez, dropping the flag, putting that Demacian diplomacy into the Kha'Zix. So no invades, nothing crazy. We did actually have Marby Baby throwing out a ward, so they're going to be able to see if they go for a blue start here. But it doesn't look like Sojin is going to, as he starts red, and he'll look to... Oh, actually, no, they're not going to mirror it out. So Kez will be starting his red as well, or maybe even looking for an invade. But there's really a lot of good wards on the map right now from both sides.
Yeah, definitely making use of those trinket wards early game. You can see everybody has placed theirs except for Low Pally, and I can imagine he's just going to go ahead and place that one late, either at that banana bush or on the red, just to make sure that there's not any late invades happening. To make sure that Kez's jungle is secure going into the first and second buffs.
All right, so the buffs are going to be spawning in about 10 seconds, and we'll see the junglers go on their merry ways, and it will be the mirrored blue-red from both. So,
well, this lane up top now, Rumble is definitely not considered one of the stronger laners, but neither is Maokai. Maokai is not really a champion that you have too much kill potential in lane. There's chances that you can bully someone out in lane, and Rumble is probably the champion that you're going to be able to do it to, if there is one. But I'm really excited to see how they're going to deal with each other, because a Rumble that gets ahead in lane and a Rumble that has a good early game is just going to be so potent going into mid-game team fights.
The thing, though, about Maokai is you can't spam Flame Spitter, or he's just going to get the auto attack and heal. And
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Gonna be fine.
Exactly. And Rumble is one of those champions that spams abilities because his resources is not finite. So he's just able to use spell after spell after spell, which means Chump John is going to be heal after heal after heal.
All right, so we're in the bot lane as well. We're seeing the effect of the ebb and flow. Maybe Baby just doing his thing again, showing that his Lucian versus Corky is pretty dominant, and they can't really do too much to it until the later levels when the Phosphorus Bomb is finally clearing up the wave, and he's got the rockets to clear it up as well. But it's still a rough matchup, man. Lucian is just so dominant in the lanes. We saw him take down Vayne, take down Corky, and now looking to take out Corky again. He hasn't really lost his lane this whole set.
Yeah. People make a big deal out of how strong of a lane Thresh Lucian is, but I think that Lucian Nami is one of the hardest lanes to deal with because Nami is always going to be in your face. She gets those auto attacks on you, and that harass is just ridiculous. And if she lands a bubble, oh man, that's just game over for you down that bot lane. And of course, the one thing that Nami has that Thresh doesn't is the ability to sustain, which is a big deal in those types of lanes.
I love what Kez is doing. He's moving on up. He's going to hide in those brushes up top there, but Hoofspark taking a bunch of damage. Got to be a little careful. They do have the Gale, and heal is actually being run in this bot lane this time. Hoofspark did pick it up instead of the double exhaust they were running last game. And this is pretty dangerous for Chumpjon. He's got to be careful. Gets hit by those harpoons, and the Flame Spitter is going to force him out, but a bit too tanky as he kind of just shrugs it off. He has no problem doing it.
Yeah, Chumpjon, Maokai is not a champion that really fits his playstyle much. He's not the best team fight sort of top laner. He really loves that split push map pressure style. And so I won't be surprised if Westrites gets a little bit of the better of him in this lane. I mean, Chumpjon was mostly known for playing Jax in the Challenger series a few months ago, so completely different types of champions.
Shadow gets thrown out. He goes forward with it. Dissonance comes through to give him the movement speed. He'll get slowed out by those Void Spikes. Shuriken connects, and not too much there. Golden Glue, he's probably been in that scenario about 100 times. He's like, I'm just going to walk out.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Kez snuck his way all the way up top with Chumpjon. He's not biting the bait. He'll go back.
Kez has spent a lot of time.
He sucked a lot of XP too.
Yeah, that's true. So he's really just saying, hey, Westrice, can I get some of this XP?
just a little bit of XP, please, sir. Just some more. But he'll just keep pressuring this, and then if they die, this is really risky. They're going to go in. He heals up a little bit, and there's the Twisted Advance, and he might pick up Westrice. No, he gets out of range in time. He'll save his flash, and he won't even try to TP out. So that'll be first blood going over to CompLexity White with some nice juggling of that turret aggro.
That's actually a really big deal. I think it's a bigger deal than what it may just appear being a first blood, because I mentioned that Rumble is such a momentum-based top laner, and he has such a strong mid game, especially with the equalizer.
Baby going in, flashing and exhaust. Lopelli ends up soaking that one up. Hoofspark is just going to go through. He's healing up with the potions on Jaro's leading the charge, though. Gives himself the shield. Auto attacks coming in. They force out the heal in response. Hoofspark is there, flashing forward. Missing the Phosphorus Bomb with a good juke from Baby, but Lopelli, he's got the Tycho's Blessing, he's got the auto attacks, and he can't get it. No, and that'll be, once again, these bot lanes are so evenly matched.
Evenly matched in these skirmishes, but look at that CS difference. That's more than double. That is going to be triple the CS of Hoofspark once this lane is done. So even though that trade seemed to be even, at the end of the day, that is not even anywhere close to even. And you can tell that Impactful and Lopelli really are not afraid to pile on the aggression, because they know, hey, even if we give up a kill, being 30 CS ahead is going to give us a lot of breathing room.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even notice that, but he's been zoned out so hard. That's the power of Nami as well. Nami against Jenna. Jenna can try to harass her, but then Ebb and Flow comes into effect, and then she's like, all right, I got Tycho's Blessing, now some extra magic damage and slow, and you're just like, I can't deal with this, and you're forced back like we saw Hoofspark. So, good control there by Lopelli. He's been around for a long time. That's the experience showing pretty brightly there.
Yeah, and you can see the gold difference right now. This is starting to look a lot more like game one, where CompLexity was just winning out in the lanes. There's a 1.3k gold lead, and there was a kill, but other than that, it's only CS and only bot lane CS that's being the big difference in this gold right now. Good
presence in mind by Arc to not just be completely baited by that. In solo queue, I'm pretty sure someone would be like, I'm just going to deathmark him and go in.
Yeah.
But Lopelli going to get caught out by the Zephyr there. They do miss the Void Spike, so the slow is going to be held off for just a bit. They flash forward, they get the isolation, and the slow damage to come through, but a double bubble going to stop him. And Sojin misses the spikes again, but here comes Arc second. He's going to drop the Ignite. There's a Shockwave to stop him for a little bit. The Deathmark is going to pop, and Mabry Baby in the back does find a kill into Hanjaro. The TP came in from Westrice, and Hoofspark is dead, and that is going to be a 3 for 2 in the favor of CompLexity White.
Yeah, and it looks like they are healthy enough to be able to do this dragon. They are pinging it out. And this is where that first blood up in the top lane comes into play even more so, because Chumpjon actually had to use his teleport to get back to top lane to make sure that he didn't fall too far behind, and he didn't have his teleport in that fight, whereas Westrice did. So not only is Westrice 2 kills ahead now, he's not that far behind on CS, he's contributed to his team's success, and they've picked up a dragon as well. So this is a great position for CompLexity White to be in going into the mid game. Being ahead this much with such a strong mid-game teamfight comp is going to make it really easy for them to close out the game if they make good decisions.
Indeed. So we noticed that Chumpjon, he's taking a minor CS advantage, like he said, and then there's the 2 kills for Westrice, but he went straight Blasting Wand. So giving up on going Catalyst first and just going straight for the nuke damage that he can use. And they're switching lanes. I think Golden Glue might stay up there first.
Yeah, this is something that I mentioned a little in the first game, but when Golden Glue feels like he's against a wall, when Golden Glue feels like he's in not the best matchup for him, he'll just leave. He'll go to the top lane, he'll split push to his heart's content. One of the only players in all of the professional scene to be a split pusher on Orianna, and it's not something that, oh, he does once in a while. Almost every game he plays Orianna, he finds some time in the game to split push.
Farming the jungle, split pushing out every lane, he's just everywhere. So
we saw the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith being built earlier today, which is
not this game.
The ultimate jungle taxing item for a mid laner, especially on Orianna.
It works out pretty well. I gotta say, I wouldn't be surprised if he built it either way, but going for the Athenians kind of means that he... And Sojin, he's hit that level 6 point, he's going to evolve the wings and look to get some extra leaps in. And we'll see if he can put it to effect now. He's got that 6, he can stealth on in, get the isolation damage. He's also actually a little bit behind Kaz at this point, who's finished up a Spirit of the El Lizard with the help of the kill and the 3 assist thing. So.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
Monstar Kittenz really has to make some big moves here, but they also have to be really careful because of how strong the mid game is for CompLexity White. We say it, but that combination of champions that they have going on right now is almost the ideal, like, second dragon fight composition. Level 11, these guys will destroy you in a straight-up 5v5, so you have to really be careful, but at the same time, they can't just bleed out. They can't just sit here and let their bot lane get further behind and just let their lanes just sort of suffer and fall further behind. They've got a 3K deficit, and we're just 10 minutes into this game.
Oh, this is time the gank is going to get spotted out. They can try to counter it now. Oh, this is not going to be too good. Jumping on in, though. Maybe Baby is going to be able to dodge away, no problem. There's the Cataclysm on top of it with the Tidal Wave. It's going to knock up 3 as the culling comes through. Not doing too much damage. They're trying to focus on Sojin. They refresh the double bust on Kaz. He flashes forward, forcing out both of those flashes, and now looking for Hanjaro with a good Howling Gale. He's able to get out of there, but Sojin losing that double buff. Giving over to Kez, refreshing it, and now this tier 2 is gone.
Oh,
Flash bubble comes in. Hanjaro's going to end up getting knocked up, but they do end up losing Hoofspark, and now with the dot of the red buff, that's a double kill for Kez. And no problem for them as they now secure a tier 1 and 3 huge kills with the help of that back ward there.
Yeah, so that was just a great bait right off the bat by Impactful, by Mabry Baby down in the bot lane. They knew exactly what was happening there. They knew that that gank was coming. He wasn't afraid because they're so far behind that their damage is really tiny right now, and that sort of just seems like what Hoofspark's been suffering from in all 3 of these games, actually, is just getting so far behind in the laning phase. But it really seems like Monstar Kittenz has lost that edge. They've lost that confidence now. They're playing super conservatively. Sojin's trying to make things happen, but it just feels like it's too little to be able to come back right now.
Yeah, they're down that 4.7k gold, so they're trying to do what they can to recover. Kaz has mobility boots too and a ruby crystal, so I wouldn't be surprised if he got the sight stone soon. They're looking for a dive up top, but this is going to be countered again. Sojin, this is a nightmare for him. They're going to leap on into Westeros here, do as much damage as they can. They do get the knock up in from the flag and drag, but Kez so strong. Elder Lizard doing so much work, burning down that tree, and there's the Dragon Strike for the kill. Meanwhile, in mid, Golden Glue going to get initiated on here. Arc second, not even having to use the Death Mark as he was on cooldown, so able to take him down to the flat up 1v1, even with low pally trying to zoom his way in there with the ebb and flow. Now, Sojin going to fly his way out of there.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there with Golden Glue. He sort of willingly put himself into turret range, and Arc Second didn't even have to use the Death Mark in that situation. It was actually on cooldown. So just the Ignite and some auto attacks onto Golden Glue were enough to kill him. So it seems like Golden Glue is being a little bit impatient. He's being a little bit frustrated.
Maybe that last game kind of, threw him off a bit.
Threw him off a little bit because he had such a great start, but then just couldn't make things happen with the double exhaust. This game, though, only 1 exhaust, and he's playing Orianna, so it doesn't really affect him too much.
No, it doesn't. So, 103 CS to 47 from Hoofspark.
Wow.
Mabry Baby, there's nothing he can do to this. This Hoofspark, nothing he can do to him. Gets the shield, but just instantly, there's the piercing light, just it's gone. He loses any kind of ability to stay alive in that lane. But Bubble comes through, it stops Sojin mid-jump, double TPs are coming out. This is going to be a 4 versus 4. Tidal Wave going to knock up 2. Hanjaro's going to be the force of that Cataclysm, as now he's stuck in there, he can't get out. They knew he had no flash. Low Pally able to secure that kill on the Nami. So now, coming in from Golden Glue, he was trying to make it a 5 versus 4, but they're content with the 1 for none, and looking to make it 1 turret as well as they keep pushing, but Arc second, fulfilling that Zed role and just keeping his presence known in mid.
Yeah, making sure that he keeps split pushing. That's going to be
Whoa,
the Death
Bar comes in. There's a flash. Oh, he uses the shadow and the flash to get out of that shockwave, and he's able to stay alive. Meanwhile, Sojin down bot falls to the equalizer, and Mabry Babies auto attacks.
Yeah, that was really great patience by Westerice. As soon as he teleported in that bot lane, he held onto his equalizer because he realized that it wasn't going to have a high impact on that fight. Held onto it. Maybe he would wait for the dragon fight and maybe to get a couple straggle kills, and that's exactly what he did. Picked up Sojin on the backside of that fight, and CompLexity White is just stomping all over this map right now, doing pretty much whatever they want. This is exactly like Game 1, and I actually think this is even worse than Game 1 because CompLexity is actually getting kills as well. It's not a perfect game, but they even have more of a lead at 14 minutes than they did in that Game 1.
And Kez is 5-0, so absolutely crazy.
Wow, yeah, on Jarvan. So that's not something that Kid usually does, so he's going to be able to get tanky as well as being that vision control sort of supporter style jungler. And of course, we've talked about it 1,000 times already this game. They're going to be able to close this game out just because of how potent that combination is for those mid-game team fights. And even Lucian he's not the best sieging AD carry, but getting those pot shots on the turret is a lot easier with that double shot.
Yep, so now up top, CompJon, he's been left alone for quite a while. He's found quite a decent amount of farm and his Rod of Ages. Westerice, I'm surprised he's not going commit. Oh, yes, he is. He's got Kez coming. So CompJon decides, I'm just going to go all in and try to fight you out. As he keeps throwing the sapling, he's doing quite a bit of damage, but those harpoons, Flag and Drag comes in, doesn't knock him up. He's trying to do what he can to stay alive. Gonna pop this ultimate, but Westerice is just so tanky. Scrap shield, overheating, and just doing complete work to that Maokai there with the help of Kez.
CompLexity is not giving Monstar Kittenz an inch.
Blue side advantage
right now. Yeah.
Sojin gonna get initiated on a Cataclysm as well. He's able to stealth up and just jump away. So staying alive just barely. That Elder Lizard was not enough to kill him.
Yeah, Kez did have the flash available, but holding on to that one.
Oh, wait a minute.
Whoa-oh.
Wait a minute, Kez. Does the flag? All right, forcing him to back. Oh, flash and Dragon Strike for the kill. He's dominating 6-0-5.
Very smooth moves there by Kez. Knew exactly what he was doing with that little maneuver. And CompLexity White just continues to get further and further ahead. This is almost a 10,000 gold lead.
At 15 minutes?
At 15 minutes. They actually, if they really wanted to, could have the potential to close this one out in a sub 20-minute game.
Kez is getting a little greedy here, but there's a tidal wave to come in. The Shadow Mark was not used, and they're just going to sacrifice Henjaro, so they'll end up falling, unfortunately, but keeping Arc Second alive is a much bigger objective. Yeah,
when Kez, the jungler, is able to solo out your Zed, who's supposed to be able to solo most people at level 11 in this game right now, you know your team's in a really terrible position in this game. Impactful has such aggressive positioning. He's not afraid of anything because Hoofspark hasn't even completed the third piece of his Trinity Force yet. He's so far behind.
Again, it's nothing, but Deathmark comes in from Golden Glue. He's going to chase, from Arc Second. He's going to chase him out and just go right back on out to that Deathmark Spotted Shadow. Going on in here, Henjaro takes a bunch of damage from Mabry Baby. Jeez, the red buff is doing so much work for him.
Yeah, you can really tell that this bot lane of Monstar Kittenz just seems a little bit outmatched. Henjaro is doing what he can to make it work in teamfights. In last game, I think he was one of the shining stars in Monstar Kittenz' victory, but Hoofspark has just fell so far behind in all 3 games, and it just makes you question. He focuses so much on Draven and solo queue and in their rank 5s matches that maybe he should have used it as a bait or something.
Sojin gonna come in from back here, but there's Kez just on his tail all the time. Pink Ward even committed. There's a nice Monsoon, but Cataclysm right afterwards is gonna lock up Hoofspark. Henjaro falls. It looks like soon to follow up is gonna be Hoofspark. Ignite comes in, and Lil Pally will find that kill as he's actually running Ignite on the support. I thought he was taking Exhaust. I didn't even realize that, but aggressive playstyle comes in and works out pretty well.
Yeah, and Westerice is just bullying around CompJon up here in the top lane as well. He does have his teleport available, but it's not very often.
Inhibitor at 17.5 minutes? Why not?
Yeah, that is just so hard to come back from when you're that far behind. You can't even leave your base, really. When a team is this far ahead, they've taken your inhibitor, they have control over your jungle areas, and even matches that you're supposed to be doing at least well in, at least okay in, you're losing. It's just, Monstar Kittenz just has their back against the wall at this point. I have no idea what they're going to have to do to come back in this match.
It kind of just feels like a solo queue game, mid lanes 2-0. He's like, come on, guys, why are you feeding? What are you doing?
Yeah.
I can carry this game. Gosh, but
4 times report, AD carry.
report, Hookspark, please. No. But, like you said, I have no idea how they can come back. 13,000 goal behind, haven't got a dragon, they've got one turret up top, which Chumchan was able to get with some alone time, but he's still so far behind. He's 0-3. He's trying to get towards the Spirit Visage, I'm assuming, with that Megatron cloak, but it's not looking too good.
Yep. And I'm trying to think what Monstar Kittenz can do to come back in this match. We talked about in the first game, when you're that far behind in a game, in a best of 3, you kind of just got to chalk it up and say, hey, what can we do better in the next game? But there is no next game for Monstar Kittenz. If they lose this one, they are out of the expansion tournament and have no chance to compete in the 2015 Spring LCS, and CompLexity White would move on. So they really need to try and make something happen. A last-ditch effort, a desperate play.
Yep.
There's nothing to lose at this point.
And don't forget, there's more League of Legends action after this game, too.
Yeah, definitely.
One more best of 3 for today. And up, they're diving into Hanjaro here. Kez is just asserting his advantage. He doesn't even take any damage. Look at him go. Bubble comes in, they hit CompLexity, and they're just going to make their way straight for this inhibitor. I don't know what Monstar Kittenz can do right now. They're clearing out the waves effectively, but that's not stopping the champions from just beating in on this inhibitor. And a sub 20-minute inhibitor is a really, really good place to be in if you're CompLexity White right now.
Yeah, that's just so rough. 13,000 gold in the lead at 20 minutes into the game. And this is even bigger of a lead than we saw in the first game. This is just so rough for them. And you said it at that inhibitor turret. What are they supposed to do? Maokai can run in, but he's almost going to die instantly. And going in almost seems like a death sentence, because if they get shockwaved and equalizer, then they're just going to lose the game anyway. So
that ball positioning too, so aggressive.
Look at them. They don't even want to get anywhere near that ball.
Just keep it away from me.
Yep.
They even have a pink ward up there by the wolf pit too, so they're able to stop any wards. Tidal wave comes out, gonna hit one, no more though. Shockwave is not used yet. Equalizer gonna zone them as well as push them back into their base. Flashing forward, Westright's on a rampage, looking for more. Burn it down the tree, Mabry baby. Gonna find himself 1 kill, and he's 4-0. And a lot of the people here for CompLexity White have 0 deaths, so on those sprees and just keeping that pressure mounted.
They basically just used the Nami ultimate as sort of a deterrent. Say, hey, this is a warning shot. You guys better get away from the turret or we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And the ones that didn't manage to make it back to their inhibitor turret in time ended up dying. And that was a great equalizer by Westrice, blocking him out right in the middle of their inhibitor turret and their escape path. So this is just CompLexity White just seemingly bullying out Monstar Kittenz from the entire game.
Indeed. I mean, they could just keep going down mid. They could even force a Baron here. I mean, with Shockwave, Cataclysm, Equalizer, even Tidal Wave, you can't fight into that.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, it's not even going to be hard for them to break that shell. They've already gotten that shell broken in the bottom lane with the inhibitor turret as well as the inhibitor. They've just proven that they can even engage past turrets and still come out incredibly victorious in these team fights.
Jeez, suffocating them completely.
Yeah, Kez has absolutely no fear of being caught out right now. He's just roaming around the map, placing down wards. They could all be in that bush, and he just wouldn't care. He could just flag on drag out, and he wouldn't even be in danger.
Probably just Cataclysm in anyway, and just have the ball on him like that.
Yeah.
He's waiting for somebody to face check. He wants it. He's gonna go for it.
He's got the ball on him.
Now, Dissonance comes through, flag and drag in. Cataclysm on top of Hanjaro. The ball is still there, but they don't want to commit Shockwave, so they'll take his flash instead.
Yeah, that was a great move there by CompLexity White. They're just playing this one so crisp, making sure while Westrice is pushing that wave up top that they're getting vision control across the map and applying pressure so that Monstar Kittenz does not even want to step outside their base to try and clear these waves. And
here we go. As Chumchan did a bunch of damage, but a 4-man Shockwave comes on in, and that's going to be 2 dead. Looking for more as Arcsec can follow suit, and that's 3 going down. Looking for more, flashing forward. Mabry baby with the Piercing Light. Going to be unstoppable. Can he find the kill to Sojin?
Westrice wants it.
He's got the harpoon, 1 and 2, and that's the ace. They're all dead, and it looks like that's just the game done.
Yeah, CompLexity White. I mean, these death timers actually aren't that long because
they could come back up.
It's still super early in this game. Hanjaro's actually up in 3 seconds, so they might not be able to end the game yet, but even if they don't, this game is pretty much in the bag for CompLexity White. They could literally do whatever they want for the next 10 minutes and still have a good chance of winning.
True. They could just go Baron, just clear out the jungle, do what they want.
Sit in base.
They even just lost a Nexus turret there, so these super creeps too strong.
At this point, when you have 2 inhibitors down so early in the game, those those super minions become really hard to take down, especially when they come in pairs because they buff each other. And if you don't have a lot of that, like, armor penetration or magic penetration or even just levels or in general, it's a team effort to be able to take down those waves of super minions. And that just allows CompLexity to get even more control over a map that they already pretty much own. Yeah,
it's just real estate for them at this point. They're just gonna go rent out Baron for a little bit and get that buff. And it just falls very quickly. I mean, already up, Maybe Baby, he's got an item and a half, maybe even 2 items if you count the BF sword, I guess.
Well,
one whole item.
Hoofspark has finished that Trinity Force, so
finally.
Here comes the power spike from Corky.
And there goes Hanjaro.
Yeah.
Bubble comes through. Oh, connects in the equalizer as well. That's going to be a bunch of damage on top of it. Calling to follow to force out the flash. Tidal Wave comes in. He's just going to
teleporting.
TP out. And, oh, they get him beforehand. And Maybe Baby going godlike. Sojin going to be able to get out in that bush. And this should be game.
Yeah, looks like they're just going to push straight up on this inhibitor that they already have here. There's not much that's going to be able to stand in their way. They do have the Baron buffs. They're going to have super minutes coming up. Look at this positioning. They are just hugging the fountain right now. Second Nexus turret's going to fall. It looks like that one's going to be game.
All right, so there's the Nexus taking some damage, and once they decide to commit to it, the game will be over. But they're kind of messing around a bit. There's the Shockwave flash in from Golden Glue. Double kill comes in from Westrice, and Arc second got himself a kill there on Maybe. That's a lot of gold for him, but the game is done. He won't even get to use it, and that's it. Looks like Monstar Kittenz are out.
Yeah.
CompLexity White are moving forward to play against Curse Academy, so that's going to be an exciting game. But there's more League of Legends action coming up soon. It's going to be Team Coast taking on Call Gaming
versus Call Gaming. Yeah, that match was really exciting, and the second match sort of I was hoping would set the tone for the rest of the series, but unfortunately Monstar Kittenz in that first game and that third game really just didn't show up. It seemed like when Chump John wasn't on that comfort pick, that Aurelia pick, he just didn't have much impact on the game. And Hoofspark in all 3 matches just didn't really have the impact that I'm sure his team needed him to. But you really got to hand it to CompLexity White. They showed a definite style in these games. Very control heavy, very vision control heavy. And in those 2 games that they had landslide victories, it didn't seem like they left any opportunities on the table for Monstar Kittenz to be able to come back in the game.
Yep, Monstar Kittenz, when they got that first dragon in the second game, they kind of all just unwound from CompLexity White. They're like, wait, we don't have control. Uh-oh, what's happening? And they kind of fell apart. Yeah. But we're going to be going to a quick break, and when we come back from that, the last match of tonight between Team Coast Gaming and Call Gaming is going to be coming up for you guys, and we'll see you after that break.